So I used to hang out with low confident, insecure women, and this is what I learned. They are super sensitive and they absorb everything. They compete with you nonstop. Every time you get a job, she'll try to look up for how to find a higher paying job. They also have a very hard time being happy for you because everything is about competition. It's about comparing everyone to themselves. They also cannot be happy for very long. Like if something goes good in their life, they'll be like, oh my gosh, I know something bad's gonna happen. They're addicted to suffering. They're also plagued by thoughts. Like they believe every single painful thought in their life, and they have hundreds of excuses for why they cannot change their life. They also love complaining. You can offer them as much advice and help as you like, but the thing is, they don't actually care for that because they actually love the fact that their life is in chaos because now they get to complain and be whiny and be like a victim. They also cannot stand a disagreement. If you have a disagreement or you don't want to go someplace, they'll be like, oh, are you saying that I'm not good enough or that I don't pick the right places or I'm disappointing? They take every feedback as you attacking them. This is because they carry a lot of shame and guilt inside them. So every time something doesn't go according to plan, for them, that just sends them out for a total spin. It's very hard to reason with them because their emotions dictate their entire life. One day they'll be doing great, the second day they'll be super low. They will think that you are trying to upstage them constantly. They're also boy crazy. They will resent you for having your life so put together and for not being obsessed with guys and family and getting into a relationship like they are. They also will hate it if you're the type of girl that doesn't care about that and ends up with a guy that loves you and dotes on you and you end up getting engaged and married, because that tells them that, oh my God, you cannot care about a guy and he will still flock to you. He will still be obsessed with you. That's a complete opposite to what they've been told. So they hate you for that. And this is the bonus track. She will give more chances to a man than your friendship. Literally, men can do whatever they want to her and she will give them 58 chances. But the minute you have a disagreement or something doesn't go right, she's going to cut you off because you're the toxic one. And you think, well, I thought you were so kind and forgiving, until you realize, oh, that was only for men, not for you. Also notice that they tend to talk shit about everyone. In fact, one of the ways that you know it's going to be an insecure friendship is when you guys bonded over talking shit about other people. I've done this myself and I learned the hard way that how others talk about other people is how they talk about you. They're always trying to get people to understand that, oh my God, I'm so loving and I'm so caring and I'm so kind, and people just keep taking advantage of me. But they never stop to actually take themselves accountable, and if you try to do that, again, they're going to say that you are judging them and you're one of those people. When all they really have is a lack of boundaries, and that's your own problem. They can send something in one message, they will send multiple text messages because they don't respect anybody else's time, because they don't respect their own time. I mean, think about it. If someone is so frivolous with their own time that they give it to anybody that's walking, then they expect you to do the same. And the reason that I want to educate women about this is so that you understand not to judge these people, but let them be. They're on a separate journey. But it's important to not let yourself get so involved in them, because they are quick to call you a villain and they are the victim. And they will quickly put that bait in front of you where they're trying to tell you, oh, you're so mean for doing this. I do so much for you and I did that for you and I did your wedding for you. They will do all of these things hoping that they can hit a chord of guilt and shame in you. And once guilt and shame takes place in you, it's very hard to get rid of. So it's very important that you don't let people into your life that trigger those parts of you that you work so hard on. And this is why secure, confident women do not hang out with these kind of women.
That was a bar. It really, really was. So, what has inspired me to want to talk about this subject matter is because essentially I'm friendless now. That's really it. Um I'm friendless. And when I mean friendless, I mean like at this point I really just have acquaintances at this point. Um, the thing about self improvement and the thing about when you are ascending and when you are following through on your own word on what it is that you plan to achieve, and then like you actually do it, it's going to make you more isolated. It just is. It's just going to. And I've never really been one to have like friends like that, honestly. I've just never been the one to like have friends like that. But I won't like get into deep detail about like that whole situation. However, it's really one of those things where I'm at the point where I'm doing really, really good in my life, and I cannot afford to be around people who are expecting me to reduce myself to make them feel comfortable because they are not going after what it is that they want to achieve. And essentially, when there's like jealousy and envy, it's like, okay, well, now I got to sit here and like not feel comfortable celebrating a win. I got to feel comfortable not saying, oh, like I reached this subscriber count, or I lost this amount of weight, or I reached this goal, and I'm not going to like, I'm not going to surround myself with people where I can't just like say, hey, I had a win, and like and feel like I have to like gatekeep that information in order to protect myself or protect the other person. And so essentially, that is where I am at. And if anyone has ever read The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene, I highly suggest you read that book. He talks about that in the book. And essentially, that is one of the laws. It's kind of along the lines of like, keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer in a way, but for good, meaning that a lot of the time when it's going to come for you to achieve something, when it's going to come the time for you to actually get the help that you need, you actually should be keeping like strangers and acquaintances closer to you than your friends, because a lot of the time your friends are the people that can see your trajectory going up, and they met you when you were a different version of yourself. They met you when you didn't have the things that you have now. And I'm just going to be like honest. I feel like it really is like the Capricorn in me, but like every single thing that like I put my mind to, I achieve it. Like every single thing that I say that I want to do, I end up doing it. And so when it comes to friendships, when you are a person who's very goal driven and you're very, very good at accomplishing goals, most people are not going to achieve their goals. Like that's just the harsh, raw truth of it. Most people are not going to have a follow through. And so when you have a follow through and like you have it repeatedly, it really can make people insecure, and it really can make people look at you different. And essentially I also just had this realization again. So I'm here in Florida, and there are people that like I know here in Florida. And so upon me coming, there was a friend from college who's been living out here for a couple years. And I told her that I was going to be here. And like, we actually don't live too far away from one another. So her birthday was like a day ago. And she invited me out with like her boyfriend and her friends. And so I was like, yeah, like we can catch up, no big deal. Now, mind you, she's trying to essentially do the same thing that I do already, which is create content, become monetized, creating content, and to essentially, I don't know about her wanting to build a brand, but wanting to build a platform. And so essentially, I go on ahead, I sit down, and like I'm just gonna like be blunt and be honest with it. I'm bougie. I mean, come on, like I literally have like a whole teacup set here with like a silk robe on, and I literally just had my little 24 karat gold like iPad, like little eye things on underneath my eyes before I hopped on this live stream, right? And so the friend and her friends and her boyfriend, very plain, very, very plain Jane, very like boring, whatever. And so like I could tell that they were looking at me and they were like, well, damn, like who is she or whatever. And so although my friend was being nice, like although she was being nice, she was like saying a few things where she's like, oh, like you should go to this part in Florida and check out this part in Florida because like, like you're more uppity, you're more bougie, like you're more luxurious. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I could tell that like she is a person that still believes in like binary thinking. And when it comes to insecurity, one really telltale sign of insecurity is someone that has a binary train of thought, because essentially she's a minimalist because her and her boyfriend live together. I'm assuming they split bills and they work from home. And so they're remote workers. And so essentially what they do is like they will go on these like 2 week long vacations while they do their remote work, right? Versus me, with me being a medical professional, which I'm going to be back starting my 9 to 5, but thank God I'll be working alone. But I have no choice but to have my 9 to 5 because I want to grow the brand, and like I really like want to turn this into something, and I need to have money to invest in the business to allow this to grow. Because for me, this is like bigger than a YouTube channel. Like for me, this is way, way bigger than just creating content. I really do take pride in like helping women, and there are more resources and there are more things that I want to be able to offer up to the subscribers and the community of people that are supporting me to be able to facilitate your growth and to grow a community here on YouTube. And essentially it was kind of one of those things that I picked up on where I could kind of feel as though she was looking at her, essentially she's looking at herself, me, with like what I do. So they were asking me, oh, well, what do you do for work? And yada, yada, yada. And like I told them like, oh yeah, like I travel, like doing ultrasound or whatever. And like, essentially, you know, like I haven't worked in like 2 months. I've just been creating content, and like I've been making enough money for, you know, that to sustain me, you know, and for everything to be okay. And I was pretty much telling them like, you know, I lived in New York, I lived in Georgia, I lived in Texas, I lived in Arizona, I lived in Milwaukee. And they're like, oh, they're asking me all these questions about like my job, and like, do they place you where they want you to work? And I'm like, no, I get to choose where it is that like I want to work. And I was telling them my experiences about like living in New York City and yada, yada, yada. And you know, all of my, you know, a lot of like, you know, it's just a couple things that it's like, oh yeah, like I do, you know, plan to, you know, do a couple like things or whatever. Exactly. Pretty much trying to get the insight on me, because I feel like in comparison to them, even I feel like they pride themselves on like this movement that they're trying to do with like travel with like fellow remote workers. But I won't even work for 2 months. Like, even if I wasn't creating content, I would still not even work for 2 months. Like, when I'm not working, I'm absolutely not working. And I'm like, oh yeah, like I don't have to live with anyone or like split bills with anyone. And like, even then, like, they still have to like pinch pennies and like make sure that like they're very mindful of like their spending and things like that. So when it comes to insecure people, and like especially insecure women, I always feel like they have binary thinking. And I kind of feel as though she was like, oh yeah, I'm a minimalist, and like I don't need all of these things, and like those material things aren't that big of a deal to me. And I just felt like it was like competition. Like she was like trying to compare us. And in my head, I'm like, there's been plenty of times when I've gotten on this live stream and like I've had a full face of makeup on. I haven't worn makeup on a live stream in like almost a month, because I just don't feel like putting it on. And like, I'm really happy with how my skin looks. And there was something else that like they were doing that like I caught all of them doing. They were like staring at me. Like I would catch them staring like deep into my soul. And essentially, I had to like stare back at them and like check their asses. And then I know that her boyfriend had like felt the heat from me. Her boyfriend definitely had felt the heat from me. Because okay, so the plans pretty much got like the plans got subdued. So originally we were all supposed to go to this restaurant for her birthday. And they didn't. This is how I knew that like these weren't my people. Like these women weren't my women. So they were supposed to go to this restaurant, right? And like I was ready to eat, right? I was ready to eat. They decided not to go to the restaurant because one of the girls, her ex-boyfriend, was at the restaurant. So because her ex-boyfriend, mind you, it is her ex-boyfriend from like 4 years ago, she said. It was from a long fucking time ago. And yeah, she's an Aries sun. She's a pretty girl. She is. She's a very, very pretty girl. I just kind of feel as though, based off what she was telling me, like I feel like she used to be more put together, and then I don't know, like I feel like she is like very Christian, and like I feel like that's like a part of her like new identity, to be like minimalist and pretty much like taking on whatever it is that her boyfriend is like doing, essentially. I guess that's what it sounds like to me. And they decided to not go to the restaurant because that girl's ex-boyfriend was there. And I was just like, huh? And we should have you go in there and see if he's still in there. And I'm like, I'm not doing that shit. I'm like, first of all, I had to like tell the girl, I'm like, so you're gonna let like another man have power over where you're going to go to decide to eat because he's there? Like, a man literally has this much power over you that he has the ability to dictate where you are going to go to eat, and it's her birthday. So essentially, it's her favorite place and she wants to go here for her birthday, and now she can't enjoy the meal that she wants to have because you don't want to run into your ex-boyfriend. Like, I called her out. I did. I just straight up called her out. And then her boyfriend was talking to one of the other women, and he called her a bitch. Like, he had said like he had literally said, like, called her a bitch. And I could tell like he was trying to do it in like an endearing way. Like, you know how sometimes like us girls will be like, oh yeah, like, yes, bitch. But it wasn't like, yes, bitch. It was like a level lower than that. So it was like a little bit of endearing with a little bit of like, you know what I mean? Like, bitch, you know what I mean? And so the girl, I don't want to call her my friend, but the girl from college had like looked at him and he was like, oh yeah, like, I know that you don't like it when I like say that or whatever. And she was like, yeah, like, I don't like it when you know, say that. And so I'm just looking at them like, Jesus Christ, like, I gotta pretend like I want to be around these people at this point, because really, I just want to get up and fucking leave at this point, but I also don't want to be that person. But yeah, I called that other girl out. I was like, why? I did that later. I called her out later in the night when like I knew we were gonna like wrap everything up because I didn't want it to be awkward. But I could just feel the insecurity like reeking off of them. And a lot of the time with the issue with insecure women is when they have hierarchy thinking. So in their mind, they look at everything as a hierarchy between like, okay, the top person and the middle person, and it's just like a ranking system. And they are going to compare you, and they are going to essentially put you in a hierarchy, and then they're going to size you up with where they feel like they meet and where they meet on the hierarchy. And like, I could just tell she was looking at me and she was like, oh my God, like, you look so much different. Like, you look so much better. Cause I haven't seen her in a really, really long time. And I'm like, these are not my people. Like, I am ascending so much further than these people. And like, their conversations were very just like low level. And then mind you, one of the girls I'm sorry, like, this girl is just straight pick me. So the same woman that said that she wasn't going to go to like the restaurant or whatever because her ex-boyfriend was in there, she knows all of the details about a man that doesn't even know that she fucking exists. Okay. She's like, oh yeah, he's a radiologist, and he graduated from this college, and he does XYZ. And I was like, she's like, and he doesn't even know me. And I'm just like, and mind you, they've been drinking all fucking day. And I'm coming in like sober, you know? So like, their inhibitions are like pretty low, like their judgment is very low. And I was just like, oh my God. Like, and mind you, she's a therapist. This is a therapist. When she told me that she was a therapist, I was like, you have limerence over a man. You have limerence over someone that you don't fucking know. And you're a therapist. You're afraid to go into a bar where your ex-boyfriend is, and you are literally a paid therapist, and you are supposed to be getting paid to help navigate people through what it is that they're going through in life. So honestly, most of my life I've been a loner. I was raised as an only child, so I'm used to doing things alone. And if you follow me on my spiritual channel, I did 2 live streams on there today, but I essentially was pretty much talking about how like the Venus retrograde and the Mercury retrograde has like really, really like it's really made me like question like my relationships. It's really made me question like a lot of my friendships. And now with like Neptune being in Aries, like a lot of illusions are like being lifted when it comes to how I would like my life to look when it comes to friendships. And I've always been one of those people where I always wanted to like be a part of like a like friend group and things like that. But then whenever I would like whenever the occasion would come together, it just energetically I could never do it. And that was like another reason why like me and my close friend, that's what my closer friend wants. She wants a friend group. And I feel as though the friends that she has now, um, I feel like she's going to do better with the friends that she has now. And the reason why is because she is in a predicament where the hierarchy is favoring her. Okay. The hierarchy is favoring her because she has more wisdom than those people. She has more knowledge than those people. Whereas between me and her, I am the one that has more wisdom. I am the one that has more knowledge. I am the one that's constantly teaching her. And the thing that happens with these type of situations when it comes to insecurity is what I'm finding is that one thing I am grateful for is that people really won't allow themselves to be in my energy while they are insecure of me, because that would always be a theme with my friend. Whenever she would like get jealous, or whenever she would like have an insecurity and she would like see me accomplish things, she would quit talking to me. Like she wouldn't talk to me for like a few days or whatever. She always would like leave me alone. And so essentially I kind of feel as though it's one of those things where people do just leave me the fuck alone when they realize that like, okay, like there's something going on internally with them, and they just they just leave me the hell alone. And so essentially I'm at the point in my life where I'm just accepting the fact that when you are a woman that has like a very bold personality, you're very well put together, you're very well spoken, you have a lot of knowledge, you have a lot of wisdom, it's really going to make a lot of people feel uncomfortable. And I'm going to talk about this on the spiritual channel tomorrow, how this has also manifested in my relationships with men, and how I would always get spiritual confirmations in my past relationships on how I was always ascending much higher than men. Like men would lose their job once they dated me, their business would fail once they dated me. I even had a guy break out in hives. I had a guy that really liked me, and he knew that I was no good for him. He knew he really really knew that I was no good for him, and he didn't want to quit dealing with me. And my spirit was so strong, he broke out in hives. He's never broken out in hives before. That is how strong my energy is. And that is how much like strong energy that I carry to be able to repel people away from me. And so essentially, my personality and who I am is really not for the faint of heart. And a lot of people will try to take that on as a challenge. A lot of people, when it comes to people that are insecure, they want to take me on as a challenge because they want to use it as a way to gauge their self worth. They want to use it as a way to essentially gain validation by being in proximity to me. And I also understand that it's more insecure people in the world than it's people that are actually not insecure. Like that's just like the hard cold truth of it all. And when you're dealing with insecure people, because your energy will be so strong, they will always try to shrink you down or expect you to shrink yourself down. So like for instance, like my friend, like yeah, she doesn't want me to like talk about like any of my accomplishments or whatever, because it doesn't make her feel good whenever I talk about my accomplishments or anything like that. And it's always this thing where it's like you can only like win so much, like you can only like be winning and let them know that you're winning so much. And I can't live like that. I can't live like that. I feel as though any person that's going to have good intentions for you, they're always going to want to hear about what it is that your accomplishments, and they're always going to want to be proud of you and like be happy for you. What do you call people who do things to you to try and get a reaction out of you? Like, I think people have a hard time reading me, or they are curious about me in a negative way and they want to test me. I just call those people energy harvesters. They do. I just call them energy harvesters. And that's another reason why people do have a hard time with this. Is the reason why people give me space when my intimidation is becoming too much and when their insecurity cannot handle my success. And the reason why is because they know that they can't harvest my energy. They know that if they give me a backhanded compliment, or if they talk shit about me, they're not going to get a rise out of me. Because the thing about it is that I'm very intuitive, I'm clairvoyant, and like I can read very, very deep into things. And I know exactly when like someone's jealousy is peering through a situation that has nothing to do with them. So for example, there's like a guy or whatever, like, whenever I'm back home, like I'm involved with him, right? And so essentially I kind of felt like, I've talked about this story before, but essentially I felt like his ego got bruised because he had saw that like on Valentine's Day, I got like roses, and he saw that like, he didn't know it was my landlord, but it was my landlord. And like, like he like took me out or whatever. And then like ended up like doing me a small favor or whatever. So essentially like the guy like posted a subliminal on his stories, right? So I told the friend in question, about this. And essentially she was like, well, he can be jealous if he wants, and it's natural for him to be jealous. And I'm like, okay, we're not talking about him. That's a weird reaction to give to someone when I'm coming to you, especially about like man stuff. You know what I mean? That's a really weird reaction to give someone. And I just knew that it wasn't coming from a place on her looking at the situation. It was coming from a place inside of her, because that's a very objective, weird thing to say in relation to what it was that I told you. So then I ended up just reaching out to a male friend, and he was like, oh no, he was like, his ego is bruised. He's a little jealous over the fact that like you're getting attention from like another man, even though he's not my boyfriend, right? Even though like all we do, like our relationship is like more so like a friends with benefit situation, right? And so I'm like, okay, yeah, so I'm not crazy. Like I know what the fuck I'm talking about. So pretty much essentially after that, like I didn't talk to her for a couple days. I didn't talk to her for a couple days after that, because it was some insecurity that like popped out of her when I had brought that up. I get ghosted all the time now, men and women too. Not something I'd encounter so heavily in the past. Exactly. Your personality is too strong for weak people. Then you sense it. You can see through people. Exactly. And I'm one of those people where like you can't play me. And like I would tell my friend time and time again, like you can't play me. You can't lie to me. You can't fake the funk with me. I'm always going to be able to pick up on these things. Like there is no way. And so I feel as though um just so that everyone is comfortable, it's just easier to create distance. It's easier just to be able to create space and distance myself from the situation. Oh, thank you for the super chat. Thanks for your time, energy, and beauty. I found out about Princella through you. Oh, wow. I love Princella too. So glad. Since I started learning to decentrate and focus on myself, I've been feeling so much happiness and peace. I love that for you. I love that for you. And I really appreciate the super chat. So he feels some kind of way about a man buying you flowers when he didn't buy you any. Well, yeah, because the thing about it is this. So this is the thing about, give me 2 seconds. I got to cut on the AC. It's getting hot in here. Y'all know that my energy rises whenever I have these live streams with you all. My energy like sets on fire. So the thing about men, the thing about men, and like, I know that this is something that like the guy doesn't like about me. He doesn't like the fact that I'm unbothered. He doesn't like the fact that I'm unbothered. And what men will do is, even when you give them like the bare minimum standard, okay, so like, I just sleep with this guy, right? Like, that's all I care about. That's all I do with this guy. What'll happen is, when you get treatment from another person and it's better treatment than what that person is giving you, even though you're not even expecting that from that person, it puts a mirror on that person, because they understand that subconsciously it's actually what they should be doing, right? It's actually something that they should be investing in. And so what happens is, men just have a lot of cognitive dissonance. So like, a lot of it, their thinking just doesn't make any sense. And so essentially he kind of felt like, well, oh shit, like, now she has someone that is entertaining her, and now essentially like they're doing more than what I am doing. And so he felt threatened. He felt challenged, right? And I feel as though in order to check men's ego, you have to do stuff like that. You essentially have to remind them that you can get pulled from other people. Like, there are other people that are interested in you, in order to keep them like on their toes, in order to keep them in your orbit, so that way you can get whatever it is that you want from them, right? So that's what I did, and I posted it on my story with the full intention of being like, hey, yeah, like, I get attention from other people. Like, I'm not just sitting here like a bump on a log, waiting for someone to text me or waiting for someone to talk to me. Like, no, like, you have to make it known that you are getting attention from other people and that you are the prize. How do you interpret ghosting from men and women at this time? I just feel as though it's energy repellent. You know, when people are ghosting you, it's just straight up repelling your energy. They don't want to invest any energy in the situation, and this could be for various reasons. You know, when you catch people in a lie, when you are in a predicament where you might be exposing people and they don't want to be held accountable, they are going to ghost you. When you are a person that they can sense that you have a very bold, very confident personality, they are going to ghost you. And it's really just a part of life. And ghosting doesn't bother me, because you always have to remember that people's actions aren't a reflection of you. I had to really, really learn that, especially as someone who had been an empath. Like, whenever someone would be in a bad mood, I would be in a bad mood. Whenever I sensed that someone was unhappy, I would be unhappy. And essentially, I had to unlearn that, because what's happening is that you're going to live your whole life tethering your emotions based off of another person's emotions, and it has nothing to do with you to begin with. You have to understand that them ghosting you, them not wanting to make do on the promises that they're making you, it has everything to do with them and nothing to do with you. The work is done. There is nothing more that you need to do if they decide that they are going to ghost you. I really do feel like rejection is protection, and I really do feel as though they're doing you a favor by not allowing that energy to be exchanged back and forth between them. Like, you're saving a lot of time and you're saving a lot of energy when people are ghosting you. So just don't take it personal. Do you think some women are male-centered is because some women will tell other women the truth? Or maybe they interpret it something different. But men will just agree because they like telling us anything. Hold on. Do you think some women are male-centered is because some women will tell other women the truth? Honestly, when women are male-centered, I feel like the root of male-centeredness just comes from validation. Um, it essentially just comes from validation. And I feel like when it comes to men and like what their opinions are, men are just naturally submissive. Men are going to tell you pretty much anything it is that you want to hear, because they still want to be attached to your energy. I already knew that those weren't my people, especially when that situation with that girl's ex-boyfriend happened, and then she was talking about the limerence that she had over a man that doesn't even know that she exists. I'm like, okay, clearly these people are very, very male-centered. And then the other girl was like, oh yeah, like so and so, he said he's gonna take me out for ice cream, and he's gonna do this and he's gonna do that. And I'm like, yeah, no, like I'm not no. I can't deal with this. But male-centered women, it's always going to be a competition of some sort. They're always going to be trying to size you up. So that other girl, she actually has a part 2 to that video that we watched at the beginning. Hold on, I want to make sure I'm clicking the right one.
With insecure women, and this is what I learned. Every single insecure woman was created by their mother. Now, why is that? Well, because your mom is the first relationship you have with the same gender. So if your mom is someone who's insecure and she grew up seeking male validation, she chases after your dad, no matter how much he mistreats her, no matter how much he doesn't talk to her, she's gonna teach you to do the same.
I really do feel this is like how my vetting process is when it comes to friends. One female friends, one of the first things that I always want to gain insight in is in on who their mother was, what their mother tolerated, what their mother taught them. My mother and all the women in my family, they've always been very affirming. The women in my family have always been very uplifting, and I do have a very strong matriarch on my mother's side. So I come from, most of the women have never, there's not a single woman in my immediate family that ever remarried, and only one of them stayed married. And a large majority of them decided that they were never going to get married. So my cousins, a lot of them, they were 4B before it was even cool. They were anti-marriage, they were anti-natalism long before it was cool. Like their Generation X, they were doing this shit long before social media, because my grandmother, it was only women. It was only women. My grandmother is one of 5 siblings that are all girls. So we've always had a very, very strong matriarch. And I've always noticed that the friends, when their mothers were very like pick me, they've stayed in like long marriages where they were getting abused, or they were tolerating a lot of stuff. Their daughters tend to be very insecure. It really is setting a poor blueprint for their daughter in the future. And it really does lower their self-esteem when they see that their mother doesn't have a high enough self-esteem to walk away from a situation that no longer serves her. And I'm not gonna like get into, people that I know in friends' business like that, but that's been very much true for just the experiences of the women that I dealt with. And it is something that can be fixed. You just have to reparent yourself.
In fact, moms that are like this get jealous of their daughters because they think that all women are competition, regardless of them being their own daughters, their sisters, their mothers, everything. It's passed down through the root. These moms will compete with their own daughter for the dad's attention. Not only the dad's attention, but if she happens to have a brother, she will compete with her own daughter for her own son's attention. If the daughter happens to be fat or skinny, she will always highlight those disparities. She will constantly tell her to focus on her external appearance, constantly put down any sort of attempts at making herself more grown. What this does is those girls then grow up thinking all women are like that. Now these girls start to think that the only kind of validation that matters is male validation. They believe that all women.
And the women that are in my family that are they have a brother, they have a male sibling, they attest to this all the time. They literally always say that like their mothers always favored their brothers more than they favored them. And like I really do agree with what Princella says when she says that they do studies and they pretty much say that when a mother is pregnant with her son, like pretty much like, well, like male sperm will change your DNA, but also essentially I kind of feel as though it's logical, right? Because like, okay, the Y chromosome isn't a full chromosome, right? So I always feel like women that have sons, there's just always going to be a part of you that realizes that like a part of them is missing. And so you're going to want to coddle them more. You're going to want to favor them more. You're going to want to run to their rescue more, because I do feel as though on a subconscious level, the mother understands that she has given birth to someone that is not whole. She has given birth to someone that is regressed. I mean, to be honest, like held back, I feel like on a subconscious level, mothers know that. So I don't necessarily believe it just starts out of like the root of favoritism. I really do believe that like that is it starts as a biological response. And so when this is not unpacked, when this is not dug deeper into, it really does manifest in the girl sibling, the woman sibling having a hard time with her self-concept, with her self-esteem, feeling as though she's worthy, because then she's always going to feel like she's in competition with her brother, because she had to be in competition with her brother for her mother's validation for her whole entire life. And then this creates internal misogyny. So then what happens is that if the daughter doesn't unpack that, it can create that internal misogyny, because the first person that she ends up hating, the first person she ends up disliking is her own mother.
Every single woman out there is to be competed with, including their own daughters down the line. Their insecure mothers will also tell them that they're too dumb, that they can't do things, and that they're a complete disappointment all throughout school. They will offer constant criticism. In fact, sometimes they'll even compare their daughters. They will project their own insecurities onto that insecure daughter, which they relate the most with, because they think that they're helping her, but they're not. They're just making her more and more insecure. So that daughter grows up to become a very, very shell of a person. She doesn't have any emotional growth. She has no way of communicating with girls her own age. In fact, those girls then grow up to be extremely competitive, so that you'll see them in very powerful positions. You'll see them with a lot of financial stability. You'll see them with a lot of money. You might even see them with a lot of men going in and out of their home, because that's all that they've been taught for, and that's all that they've been kind of told to do. These girls also learn to monitor their mom's moods, because most likely their mom was someone who had lots of high emotions one day and the next day lots of low emotions. Their moms also constantly fight with their own sisters or with their own friends. The mom can become a warrior when it comes to fighting for herself, but then very soon quickly play the guilty victim act in front of her daughter to make her feel bad for her, which is then something that the daughter learns with young women. She starts to call other women villains and then says that, oh, I'm the victim, because she learned this at home. The mom will also tell the daughter, if she has friends, that, oh, those friends might be jealous of you, they don't like you, and kind of instilling those really insecure beliefs about other women very early on. The mom will basically put in a bunch of triggers that did not need to be there and keep pressing them to make the daughter believe that they're actually true. The daughter also grows up either being very angry at her mom and thus every other woman, and is very confrontational, very conflicted, or completely small and doesn't know how to take up space and dims her light constantly and then blames other people for it. Again, because she does not know how to relate to women. Women are either too much of a competition or they're too little of a competition, so it's either annihilate them or completely evacuate the premises. And because unfortunately their personality was never entertained, it was kind of like nipped at the bud when they were like 6-7 years old. These girls also often copy other women, but at the same time, they don't know how to appreciate the women that they're copying. They also don't know how to take a compliment. Everything you say, they think that you're just mocking them. Likely because their mom did the same to them. They think everything has a hidden meaning behind it. They think everybody is trying to basically insult them in some way or another.
And that was like another thing that I started to notice. I was like, I can't give a compliment or like say anything without it being taken as like an insult, or it being taken as if it's like a backhanded compliment or an insult or a sneak diss in some way. I think boy moms create the man they want to be with because the husband is lacking. They are jealous of any woman who comes near their son because they fear being replaced. That is where the sassy apocalypse has come from. The boy moms have created the sassy apocalypse because they're infatuated romantically with their sons. I'm not like the biggest fan of Freud because Freud is like extremely misogynistic. However, I do believe in the Oedipus complex, and I really do believe that like young boys really do like have this like sexual liking for their mothers, and I really do feel as though a lot of mothers will romantically buy into the relationship that they have with their sons. And then what happens is that these sons and mothers become enmeshed with each other. This is the reason why When they say monster-in-law, it's the mother. It's the mother-in-law. Usually the annoying parent is always the mother-in-law, because of the son. She is enmeshed with her son. And like I always like to say, boy moms are never going to let their sons get off their titty, ever. They're never going to let their sons get off their titty. And I am going to make a video about that. And then what happens is that once the mother sees that her parenting has been fucked up and that her son is still living in her basement, her son does nothing but play video games all day, her son won't get up and get a job, all of a sudden they start panicking. And next thing you know, they want to try to find one of us women, and they want to dump their fucked up son onto a woman, because now they're like, get off of my titty now. I'm sick of you. And now they want to make the product that they created someone else's problem, another woman's problem. This is the reason why I don't like mama's boys. I feel as though one of the biggest lies that women were ever told is that, looking at, you can tell a man by how he loves his mother and how he treats his mother. No, you really can't, because a lot of that is enmeshment. A lot of that, especially if they have a narcissistic mother, if you marry into a family like that, you're going to be against your mother-in-law for the whole entire duration of the marriage. It's going to be horrible. It's a different kind of love, truly unconditional. Don't know about sexual. That's a bit too weird. Never felt anything even close to it. A good mother wants her son strong and independent. So like, for instance, like my grandmother, like on my dad's side, like he definitely raised like my dad to like be, independent. But whenever I hear women say that like the only like true love that they're going to find is going to be in their son, I don't know. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's just kind of like there always has to be a boundary. And I feel as though mothers of sons, a lot of them just don't have good boundaries with their sons. They honestly don't have any boundaries with their sons for it to make sense. And unfortunately, mothers don't know that until it gets to the point where like for instance, like Gabby Petito. Gabby Petito's boyfriend was like guilty of murder, and his mother literally said, she wrote a letter saying that like she would protect her son, she would kill someone for her son, she would bury a body for her son. And I think the issue was that mothers don't hold their sons accountable. A lot of that love, a lot of that unconditional love is really just rooted in not holding their sons accountable. And I think that that's like what a large issue that women have when it comes to women that are boy moms, and when they are that type where it's like there's this deep love for their sons, to the point where it's like, no, it's just because your son is codependent. Boys are more codependent. This love that it really is more oxytocin, because when you think about it, men, whenever you have a son, and this is probably going to ruffle a lot of feathers, when you have a son, had a son, you had a reject, you had a mutation. You had a mutant, because the Y chromosome it's a mutated chromosome. It's not the full chromosome. And so what happens is, you'll even see this in the animal kingdom, right? When they have a baby that they would consider to not be full, when they see that like the baby is mutated, they abandon the baby, because they understand that the baby is not going to be able to be strong enough to genetically make the herd stronger. They just leave it behind. Us as humans, I really do feel as though whenever mothers have a son, they really do have to have more oxytocin, because their body understands you have given birth to someone that is going to be codependent for his whole entire life, because he is not whole. He has a Y chromosome. He doesn't have two X chromosomes. The Y chromosome has way less genes than the X chromosome does. It's like an astronomical amount more of genes and the X chromosome as opposed to the Y chromosome. So I really do feel as though what a lot of women feel like it's love, I really do believe that it is rooted in a biological level, because men are just raised, they have a mutation. Like, you pretty much birth the mutant essentially. So it's going to take more work for you to, it's going to take more work hormonally for you to want to buy into that, for you to want to invest into being there for your son. Yeah, I have no choice but to have ads on during the live.
Another. They have this mentality that they're gonna get caught or something like that. Like, they act like they just robbed a bank and someone's onto them. They're always on the run from something. And that something is actually their mom's projection. And because her mom has body shamed her so much and shamed all of her emotions so much, that this daughter actually does not know how to have an experience. She actually just thinks about the experience. That's right, she's an overthinker. She panics a lot. She probably has a lot of panic attacks. She also rationalizes everything, even romantic relationships, thinking about the games that she can play. She can thinking about, well, if I should message him now, should I message him later? Basically useless things. She's also most likely to be a perfectionist. If things are not 100% correct, she does not believe in taking the risk. And so she completely lives a very, very diluted life. Like, her life should be at 100%. She lives at 10%. Why? Because she's always putting out fires. She's always planning for the worst things in her life. She will also then attract insecure men like this. Naturally, your vibe attracts your tribe. So you're gonna have women who are also insecure just like you. You're gonna attract men who are insecure just like you, because they want you to seek their validation naturally. Their mom also probably trauma dumped all the time on them because they never understood an appropriate relationship between a child and a parent. And so these girls then grow up to do the same. So then,
especially if you're the only child like me, and especially if you were like the oldest and you happen to be the oldest daughter, yeah, a lot of the oldest children, a lot of the oldest kids, they don't want to have children because girl, rant, girl, let it out. It's a safe space over here. No judgment. But essentially it's one of those things where I kind of feel as though when you're the oldest or the only, it's only really with like Gen Z and maybe like the younger millennials where like mental health has like really been a thing. Our elders our elders had to survive on a physical level, right? They had to survive in 3D, in the 3D spiritual realm. I got to make sure I have enough money for food, and I have to have enough money for shelter and for clothes on my back. Their survival was at the lowest level for stability. And as we have like ascended through the generations, we're able to care about other things outside of our like physical stability, where mental health is something that we are able to take into account. And so a lot of our parents weren't thinking about their mental health or trauma or anything like that. And so essentially, they'll have a long day from work, and then, they'll come and they'll tell their children all about like the horrible day at work that they had, or like an argument that they had like with your other parent, or things like that. Things that you really should not be taking in as a child. And so essentially what that does is that puts you in a predicament where if you don't unlearn these things, you are always going to be on edge when it comes to other people, and it's going to have you be an empath, because essentially you're walking on eggshells ready to solve a problem, because that's how you had to grow up. You most likely knew what time your mom was coming home from work, and you're anticipating, okay, she's coming home from work, she's going to walk in the door at 5:30, and I already know she's going to tell me about XYZ today, and I need to make sure that I listen to her, because if I don't listen to her, I'm going to be met with a negative reaction. You know what I mean? And then there's some people that are like, listen, I had to parent my own parent as a child. I don't want to have children. I don't want to go through that again, where I have to parent a child, and I essentially had to parent my own parent throughout my whole childhood. So that neglect of mental health from our parents, it really does impact us as adults. And a lot of this gets rooted it gets rooted in insecurity, because essentially you're having to solve your own parents' problems to be able to be seen, in order to be able to be validated, right? You are trying to figure out a way for you to solve a problem. And so a lot of this does create this deep rooted insecurity into adulthood, where you're always trying to be in a state of, okay, how can I fix this problem where I can feel better in competition with another person? How can I feel better about a situation where I can beat this person, or make this person feel insecure, or get rid of my insecurity?
And when you meet up with these girls, they'll be like, oh, let's go on a date together. And the whole time they'll just talk about them and their successes and their problems, their woes, their troubles, whatever it is. And then they'll trauma dump on you with absolutely no idea that that's what they're doing. I also noticed they have a very tough time accepting help. And that's because they believe that every time someone's helping them, they're looking for something in return. And that's because that's exactly the kind of transactional thoughts that their mom instilled in them. Mom would only be nice if she got good grades in school, and if she didn't, then she would give her the silent treatment. So these girls will absolutely just disappear like the ghost out of nowhere as soon as something doesn't go their way. And it could be so small as a disagreement for a place to meet up, but they will think that you're gonna do this to them, so they'll do it to you first. If you think that this is you and the only way to heal yourself is to try to go across and find those confident women, don't do that. Confident women know exactly the vibe that you emanate, and they're gonna run the other way from you. And because the trust issues are so strong, you need to work with someone that you actually have faith in. So someone who's a woman that you really find that you can look up to, you can relate to, because you need to be able to feel that comfort from a woman's presence, someone who's preferably older than you or in the same age group, because that is exactly what you're going to replace with the experiences you've had with your mother.
This is why I really do urge women to get a mentor. I really do. This is why I offer one-on-one consultations. My one-on-one consultations aren't just for like men, like any men situation. No, it's essentially for mentorship. You know what I mean? Because it is I feel as though when you are investing in yourself, it's hard for you to invest in yourself when you are not paying someone. And like, I'm not even saying this for like you to pay me or for a consultation. It's just, the thing about it is that it's weird. When we have like dynamics with a friendship, or we have a dynamic with family, I feel as though people really do try to take advantage of a bloodline, or they really do try to take advantage of you having a friendship, right? When you are paying someone, when you are actually getting a service from a person, it requires a whole level of accountability, because you are no longer relying on your relation to the person as a family member or a friend and things like that. I really do believe that all women should have some form of mentorship that they are paying in order to get help to dismantle and unpack certain things from a standpoint as a woman. You know what I'm saying? And so it can be very, very hard for you to do this on a surface level when it comes to friendships, because even with the time that like even the time where like I was like dismantling everything going on like with my mother, it really did like I did have a phase where I did have like a lot of internal misogyny. And the reason why I had internal misogyny at that time was because I was still battling like situations like between my mother and, just having my own growing pains with the situation, like situations with my mother and how I grew up, because no one had a perfect upbringing. There's always going to be something that you are going to have to unpack. There's always going to have to be something that you are going to have to overcome from your childhood.
So your trigger will be replaced with a glimmer. A glimmer is pretty much the opposite of a trigger. So basically what it is good emotion. So it's positivity, joy, excitement, adventure, happiness, peace. Because you'll be coming from a place of happiness and joy, you will automatically attract more and more confident women. Not just confident women, but like confident men, secure jobs, secure life. Like, you will be able to take so many risks in your life because you finally get the excitement and the safety that you've always wanted to feel from your mom, but within your own self. And I actually offer that with my coaching, which is all geared towards women.
Okay, my coaching is probably better, but I do have one-on-one consultations. Just a little free plug. I have the link in my description. It's pretty much in every video, and I also have it in the biography too. But yeah, I feel as though this is the reason why I feel like it's very important that as a woman, you don't reduce yourself down. You don't shrink yourself down to keep other people comfortable. Because the reason why is because it's it's better for you to lean in and be your big, bold, confident, assertive personality because it's repellent. Okay. It is repellent for people that are too weak for you. It is repellent for people that are not willing to do the work to rise to the occasion, to rise to the level that you are at. So it is very, very important that you don't stick around people who want you to dim your light in order to make them comfortable. I also have very, very few female friends. Once they see how I live, they get jealous. Exactly. Oh, thanks for booking a consultation for me, Lisa. I am excited as well. Yeah, I love the consultations. They're really, really, really insightful. And like I do like give you guys like journal prompts. I give you guys like book recommendations. Like I give you guys things that you can work on in the meantime during the consultations because the whole purpose of it is like shadow work. The whole purpose is for you to essentially figure out your weaknesses and how we can fix those and we can make those better so that way they are no longer weaknesses. Essentially finding the ways that we can improve your life and you can improve your mindset so that way your life can go on a better trajectory. That way you can remove blockages with your mindset, with your mentality, with your emotions in your life. Your spirit will irritate their demons. Exactly. When you are someone that is really out here and you have very good energy, you have a very, very good aura, it's going to put a mirror up to people's inadequacies. And that's where a lot of that jealousy and that envy comes from. Because when you're not the bright light in a room, when you're not the bright light in the room, there can be no shadow, right? There can't be any casted shadows because it's dim in there. It's dark in there. When you are the bright light entering a room, you are casting a shadow on everyone else around you that is also not shining bright. You're highlighting their inadequacies with your light. And people don't like that. That makes people feel uncomfortable. That makes people feel exposed. And so in order to hide that, they are going to do things like gossip about you, try to sabotage you, be jealous of you, be envious of you.
'24 taught me one thing is that insecure women bond over hating a secure and confident woman. And if you don't believe me, then I just want you to test this out. Talk about future plans with your girlfriends. Talk about how you guys are going to take your trip to Italy. You're going to do your pasta making class. You're going to go to Europe together. You're going to go to the cottage together. You're going to build some sort of future memories. 9 times out of 10, if they're insecure, they're going to come up with some problems around, oh, scheduling's a problem, money's a problem, time's a problem, energy's a problem. But all that energy comes right back up when it comes to hating a girl. Insecure women are professional haters. They do this shit for a sport. They know how to avert any conversation other than the topic at hand that means more hating of other girls. They love getting together and talking about all the problems that their ex-best friend had or their sister has. Always a woman to blame for their problem.
And this is also a reason why when there are other people that have friends and they're not necessarily my friends and like they have like complaints about the person in the friendship and then they still decide to be friends with that person, it really does make my spidey senses go off because I'm like, well, then does that mean that you're in a friendship with me? And there are like, I get it. You're not going to like everything about everyone. You know what I mean? That's valid. But when it is a constant thing where they're complaining to me about their so-called friend, but they won't cut the friend off, I'm able to understand that you don't really like that person. You just are only friends with that person because you don't want to be lonely. You don't want to go to dinner alone. You don't want to go to vacation alone. You're afraid to be a loner. You're afraid to be isolated and really focus on the things that you want to, or that you need to focus on to make yourself better, to have yourself ascend. And one thing about me is that whenever I'm isolated, whenever I'm in solitude, I always am able to create something. I'm always able to like create things to give to the collective. I'm always able to pour my energy into my passions because I am no longer pouring it into other people, right? And so this is alchemy. This is alchemy. Instead of you having that energy where you're pouring this into friendships with people who are very insecure, very jealous of you, very envious of you, you need to be thinking of, how can I pour this energy into another sector of my life where I know that I am unfulfilled? And a lot of women are never going to reach this because most people are not self-aware. The biggest issue with mankind, man or women in general, is that most people are not self-aware. I always like to say, me having a high level of self-awareness, it's been the best thing that's ever happened to me while simultaneously ruining my life. And what I mean by that is, when you become self-aware, you understand that like none of this is real. All of this was like created. Like all of these were societal norms. Someone literally just was like, I'm going to write down that like you should get like a college education. You're going to go to school until you're 18. Like you should find someone to get married. And then like buy a house and then live the rest of your life happily ever after. And so when you have a high level of self-awareness is understanding, well, I have commitment issues. I know myself well enough where I really won't do well with the marriage, or I'm irresponsible. I don't feel as though I will be able to take care of a child. Like literally, I am irresponsible with my car. Like honestly, I'm very irresponsible with my car. I just don't do well with the responsibility of my vehicle. I'm working on it, but that is self-awareness. If I can't even take care of a damn vehicle to the best of my ability, I'm really not all that ready to have a child. I don't have enough responsibility to be taking care of a child, because I do like to there are things that I like to procrastinate on, and I like to be able to have the ability to procrastinate on things. That takes a level of self-awareness. And so what happens is, most people aren't self-aware, and so they are not able to make decisions that are best for them. They're just following the blueprint that someone else made up. And so when you understand that you're self-aware, it's very hard for you to conform to societal things, because you understand your blueprint, your specific blueprint. And you understand that your specific blueprint does not fit the one size fits all blueprint that was created for all of humanity. And that's what creates the isolation. That's what creates for you to be a loner. Because what a lot of people don't want to talk about when it comes to self-improvement, when it comes to ascension, when it comes to self-mastery, as you get further and further down this hole, it's going to isolate you. It is. You're just not going to be able to have as many friends. You may not deal with your family as much. Because you're going to be vibrating too high on a level that it's going to make you uncomfortable to be in those situations. Just like how it was uncomfortable for me on Monday to be in the situation that I was in, that I brought up earlier, with the people that I was around. It didn't make me feel comfortable because those aren't my people. They're still talking about very low level things. They're still talking about 3D, 4D level things. A secure woman will want her friends to match her level of effort. Exactly. And my biggest thing is that I'm always going to root for something or root for someone. But the issue is that I can't do the work for you. And I think that that's the biggest thing. Support means nothing with action. And so at the end of the day, one thing with me, One thing with me is that it's always going to be, I will support you in your trajectory for growth, but you actually have to put in the work. And I can't do that for you. So when I don't see a woman going after what it is that she wants, because like I listen very closely to what people tell me. And when someone tells me, oh, my goal is something and it's something that I know that they could do in 3 months. And if they're being lazy, it'll take them 6 months. And they haven't even done, it's been 3 months and they haven't done 1/4 of the action needed to take to accomplish it. I know that that's going to be an issue. I know that that's going to be a problem. And when it's happening repeatedly, I know that's going to be an issue because I am a person that holds myself accountable. Like I wanted to be a content creator since 2024 and I just ended up doing it. I just did what I needed to do to get it done and make it come into fruition. So when you see a person, they say they're going to do something and they're not doing it, but you're doing everything that you're saying that you're going to do, you got to watch out. You have to be careful because I did a video today on the spiritual channel. This is where destiny swapping comes in. You know, they will hang out in the back. They will hang out in the back and say, oh yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But you're actually the one doing it. So you're giving them the game plan. You're giving them the path of what they need to do. And the next thing you know, they're going to live the life that they're living the life that you want to live. Because that you let them sit in the background and you let them ride the coattails too long for what it was that you wanted to accomplish, instead of just cutting them off and saying, you want to know what? You ain't putting in the work for your own life to manifest the way you want it to. You're not doing the work that you need to do to accomplish the things that you want to do. It was bothering her, and that's fine. Just never hang out with her again. Yes. See, I knew it was going to be some don't outshine me vibes. Exactly. Whatever you do, keep your personal goals, dreams, and aspirations to yourself. Exactly. Until the egg has hatched, move in silence. Even people with good intentions can plant negative seeds. Exceptions may apply. Exactly. This is why it's really, really important to, don't tell anyone what your plans are. You know what I mean? Do not tell anyone what your game plan is for your life, because a lot of people don't want to really see you succeed. They honestly don't.
And the men get a hall pass. He was going through some difficult times, and so yes, he wasn't right to me, but you know what? Perhaps I can try again and find someone better. They will literally adopt a man as a project in their life and work a second job to put him through school, fund his life, max out their credit cards. But if a woman in their life is going through something, oh no, you're too much, you're too toxic.
So I always like to say that women who take men on as projects. So I had you guys vote on a poll, right? Sorry. I had you guys vote on a poll. And one of the options that I gave you guys was the psychology behind why women like bad boys. Most women have internal misogyny. And the reason why most women have internal misogyny is because they believe, and we've been brainwashed to think that what is afforded to men and what men are able to accomplish, we are not able to accomplish. So instead of it, like for instance, there will be women that will be like, oh, well, I want a doctor or I want a lawyer. And so what will the woman do? The woman will sit here and give all of her money to the man. She will work 3-4 jobs so he can go to school, let him live with her. When in reality, all that was a projection of her wanting to be a doctor, her wanting to be a lawyer. It's easier. This is why I say this is an example of women being afraid of their own power. That's what this is. When women are investing into a man more than she would invest into herself, her physical, her mental, her emotional, her financial, it's because she's afraid of her own power. And this is what most women do. Most women are so afraid of their power, it's easier for them to want to pour into a man than it is for them to pour into themselves. And so if you're a woman and you cannot pour into yourself, you damn for sure can't pour into another woman. You damn for sure will not be willing to pour into another woman when you are a woman and you cannot pour into yourself. It is just not going to happen. And the reason being is because you are trying to project what you want to accomplish onto a man. And then what happens is that women get pissed off and they have the sunk cost fallacy once they realize that he doesn't actually make do on what it is that he said that he's going to do. He doesn't accomplish his dreams. You know, he wanted to be a rapper. He had all these crazy dreams and aspirations. He didn't accomplish any of them. So now you're in debt. Now you're drained. Now you're tired. Now you have no energy. When all of that energy that you put into him, you could have put into yourself. Or you put all that energy into him and now he's successful. He's wealthy. He's doing good for himself. And then guess what? He's going to leave you now. You built a whole project thinking that you were going to be able to have it for yourself. And now the project has been built for someone else to now enjoy. It's because you're afraid of your own power. You are afraid to tap into seeing what you are actually capable of. So it's just easier for you to avoid it by pouring into a man because it's his responsibility. And then when he doesn't live up to his responsibility, now you get to be victim.
I have to keep my distance. Everything that they can't get from the men in their life, they will try to get from the woman in their life. What they don't realize is that they take the anger and the aggression that they have against the insecure men in their life on confident women. They feel so entitled to other women's time, energy, empathy, kindness, everything. And there was a time where this would actually bother me, but then I just changed my thinking. I'm like, isn't it amazing? I am bringing people together. What these girls don't realize, what these people don't realize, is that the way they talk about me and they talk about other women is the way they end up talking about each other.
Reason why I sometimes hide my hair from certain people, like my mom hair, especially Afro texture hair, can act like an energy antenna that can absorb energies from people, good or bad. I can't remember what social media platform that I read this on, but that reminds me of something. So this woman had wrote, I think it was on Threads, and she said that she had worked with a woman and the woman had on a very stiff wig. She had on a very, very hard wig. And so essentially she was trying to give the woman pointers on how to make her wig look better. So the woman had pulled her into the bathroom and she took her wig off. And she was a Black woman and her hair was down her back. Her hair was down her back. It was her natural hair that was down her back. And essentially the woman was like, I'm not here to impress these people. I'm not going to let these people leech on to my energy with my hair and how beautiful it is and want to touch my hair and want to admire my hair and wanting to pay attention and have my hair be a distraction. So she purposely had put a stiff wig on because she was trying to protect her energy that she knew that her hair was going to summon from other people.
The biggest lie that has been taught to women is that other women are not a possible danger to you. Okay, a couple of days ago, a girl got attacked in Trinidad by two jealous women who decided to throw acid on her face. They tried to act like they booked a hair appointment with her, which was a lie because she's a hairstylist. And they, cornered her and threw acid on her and ran. The biggest lie that's been taught to women is that other women are not a danger to you. The biggest lie that's been taught to women is women empowerment and girls. I know that that's a truck full of BS. There's no such thing as women empowerment and there's no such thing as girls. Women are competitive. If they start comparing themselves to you and they feel like you are superior to them in a particular category, they're going to punish you for that. And they may even get violent and really do something to, excuse my language, F you up if they have the opportunity to do so. So The problem is, especially as you're growing as a woman into womanhood, the problem is the lies that we've been told. As women, we've been told so many lies. And one of those lies is that women cannot serve as a possible danger to your life. Look at what they did to Shanquella Robinson. Yes, they can serve as a danger to your life. They're not harmless to you in any way. You got to watch your back. A couple weeks ago, I had a client, a very unhinged woman, very jealous, very unhinged, that started spazzing out on me for her own jealous ways, right? And then after the whole argument happened, she's walking past me and she's holding a big old cup of coffee, and I get up, right? Like, my reflexes, I get up and I back up, because I've been taught to think like this especially when you're dealing with women who have this jealous root towards you. You got to be like this with them, because they're always looking for a way to get you. So I get up really fast, like it's like a reflex. And she's like, oh, why are you getting up? I'm like, you just argued with me 2 minutes ago and you're walking past me with a big cup of hot coffee. How do I know that you're not going to just throw it on me? Because that is the kind of time that women are on.
Well, if you're new here, so I did bodybuilding. If you're not new here, you already knew that I did bodybuilding. I've always liked the aesthetic of muscles. I promise this will make sense. It will tie into this. I've always liked the aesthetic of muscles, but on a subconscious level, I ended up like getting really, really buff, right? And although I like the aesthetic of having muscles, I really do want to get back to having muscles again, because one thing that I did realize is that on a subconscious level, I never felt as safe in my life as I did when like I had muscles, when it was visibly clear that like, oh shit, like she may whoop my ass. Like, oh shit, like she actually is strong. Bodybuilding has always been like a safe space for me, because it's always given me a level of protection from other people, because I already understand that I have an aura about me. I have an energy about me that it really can make people jealous. It really can make people envious. And so I really did like it when people would look at me and they would say automatically, oh, like, because men and women, oh, I don't want to get a fight into you. Like, I'll never forget, I went to a Chris Brown concert and I went alone. And that's another thing too. Because I'm just accepting where I am in life and how I'm ascending and how I need to protect my peace and how I probably am going to live a large majority of this life as a loner, traveling solo and things like that. I went to a Chris Brown concert and I went alone. And I remember this woman came up to me and the first thing she said was, please don't whip my ass. Please don't whip my ass. But I just wanted to let you know that they're not going to let you in to the venue because your bag is going to be too big. Your bag is going to be too big. So she was afraid. She was afraid to approach me. She was afraid to approach me because of how big my muscles had looked. And the thing about it is that I am divinely protected on a spiritual level. I'm very, very well aware of that. But I remember when we went to Jamaica, she was really ignorant, but it was pretty funny. Like, it really was funny to the point where I'm like, oh my God, I cannot believe that people are this intimidated. And the thing is that, like, even when I went to Jamaica, like me and my best friend, like, we really, really did take a risk being in Jamaica, and like we went far away from the resort. Like, we did a lot of risky things, especially to be doing it in Jamaica. And I remember how scared my friend was. Like, my friend was like terrified. And I'm like, nothing's going to happen to us. I'm telling you, nothing is going to happen to us. And I knew that nothing was going to happen to us because all of those men were fucking intimidated by me. I was like way bigger than them. They were fucking toothpicks. They were super, 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 super small. And essentially, I do feel as though there is a level on a spiritual level for you to protect yourself. But for me personally, there is a level of strength that I do want to be able to have, because how is a predator going to pick their prey? A predator is going to pick their prey by picking someone that I'm already 5'1". I'm short. I'm very, very, very short. And so me doing bodybuilding was always going to be something that could kind of level me out from being very, very short. And I didn't really understand the magnitude. I didn't really understand the magnitude of how my size factored into this until last summer. Last summer, I was in Georgia. I went out with a coworker, and my coworker is like 5'8", and she was like, "I really don't want you to walk alone from this restaurant that we're leaving," because it was in a college town. There had like been a lot of stuff in the news or whatever, and she was like, "You're really short, like you're really, really small." And that was like the first time in my life that I really thought about it, and I was like, "Oh shit, like I am really small." You know, I actually am really small, and like it would make it very, very easy for people to size me up. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. We left the resort. We left the resort. So yeah, not very responsible. And the only reason why we were able to do it was because I had muscles. And the man that we were with was very misogynistic. He literally didn't think that I was going to be able to hike up I forgot the hike that you go up when it's all the rocks and it's like all of the water coming down. I'm waiting for my phone to cut on so I can show you guys my bodybuilding pictures. But that is obvious. That's honestly a level of protection for me on a physical level. Just because I know how small I am, and I know my aura, and I know my energy. And yes, you do have to be careful with creatine because it actually can mess up your kidneys. So be careful with your creatine. Be careful with your protein intake. Make sure that you're getting your lab work done while you are taking creatine, and that you are increasing your protein. Yes, predators can tell by your demeanor and body language for sure. Yes, exactly. So he knew that he was going to be at a loss trying to even do anything.
We see this all the time. We see it with the girl in Trinidad. We've seen it with Shanquella Robinson. There are countless of other stories. We see the kind of time that women are on, and we're finally done lying about it. That's one thing I love about TikTok, is all the lies are being exposed now. Women are no longer willing to lie about the way that other women treat women, and how women can actually become very vicious towards other women. I love that we're all being honest about this truth.
Hold on. So these are from my last competition. Someone asked, didn't this bodybuilding increase your test levels? Of course it increased in my test levels. I wasn't natural. Not to get to this level, I wasn't natural. There's no way that you would be able to there's no way that you'd be able to get this big naturally. I'm just waiting for the photo to clear up. Yeah, I was like super swole. Super, super swole. And mind you, I did this in isolation. I was completely isolated. I didn't talk to anyone. I didn't date anyone. I didn't deal with anyone. Whenever I isolate myself, this is pretty much what I accomplish. I do very, very well when I'm isolated. Like very, very well when I am isolated. And even then, I probably will have to talk about it on Patreon. I will probably have to talk about it on Patreon. But there was a comment, I'll never forget. There was a comment that like my friend had said, and I remember she was like, "I can't wait until you gain weight. I can't wait until you gain weight." And this was like the day of my competition. And it really rubbed me the wrong way. It did. It really, really rubbed me the wrong way when she had said that to me. And not too soon after that, I ended up getting binge eating disorder. So from that picture that I showed you, I gained 70 fucking pounds. I looked like a beluga whale. I looked like Professor Clump. I had really, really, really bad binge eating disorder. I was a gymnast, and so my relationship with food was never good. It was never ever good. But I really do feel as though that comment, I really do feel as though my history with binge eating disorder, my shitty relationship with food, and the negative energy that she was like bringing toward me also kind of like fueled for that to happen. But I lost that weight. I did. I lost that weight. I got about 15 more pounds to lose, but she definitely sent bad energy my way. And I'm sure deep inside she was super happy. Oh, and then not to mention the place that I was working at. So they were insecure. They were making fun of me. They were outcasting me at work. They wouldn't help me. This guy was making my life a living hell. And so I was alone. I was isolated. And essentially I was just running to food because I didn't have anybody. You know, everyone was pretty much just, I had a really bad relationship with my mom. No one was nice to me when I was around people. The only thing I really had for comfort was food. And yeah, that's also another kind of revelation on how people's like negative energy really can impact you. Someone asked me about HRT. Queen, is it difficult to wean off of HRT when done bodybuilding? Honestly, so because I did it the worst way you possibly could do it. First of all, my coach was horrible. I had a really, really shitty coach. And essentially, I just dropped my coach right after the show. So, like, I quit everything cold turkey. And you're like, you're not supposed to do that because then your hormones are going to be all fucking out of whack. So, that also did not help me. I quit everything cold turkey because I wanted that shit out of my system. Like, honestly, I wanted it out of my system. I quit everything cold turkey. And then, not to mention, I got strep throat right after the competition. So I was out of work for a whole fucking week. It was horrible. Like right after that competition happened, I couldn't believe it. It's difficult to wean off HRT because it's addicting, so I've heard. And the changes to your female voice, clit, and brow ridge are permanent if you take too much. If you take too much. If you... Did someone say they're crying? You wrote someone's cutting onions. Aw, don't cry. But thank you all. Thank you all. We have the men and boys against us as well as the women and girls against us. The misogyny and jealousy is real. But yeah, when your dose is too high, and the thing about it is this, everyone's sensitivity is going to be different, right? There are some girls who will take 10 milligrams of VAR and their voice will be deep. They will have like a thumb for a clitoris. I mean, like, and then there are some people like me, I didn't really have any adverse effects, but also like I was on top of that. Please, like I was really on top of that. Like I had a pitch voice recorder to make sure that I could monitor my pitch to make sure it stayed the same. I put a mirror down there every single day to make sure that everything looked the same. I made sure that I stayed feminine, and I was like, no, I'm not going to keep I care more about my femininity more than going far in the sport. But yeah, and what's crazy is that she came to the show. You know, she was in Florida at the time. The show was in Florida. She drove a couple hours. And this is also the reason why there's a lot of like more distance between us and why I have to isolate, because what I also had to realize is that like a lot of that support that you think that people might be giving you, a lot of it is in disguise. It is. A lot of it is support and it's just fake support. You know, it's ill-intentioned support. It's really just to have them be a fake cheerleader and have them make you feel as though it's actually someone that is in your spot. And like, I essentially had told her, I was like, I don't need your support. Even with like the content creating thing, she wanted to share my things and do all this stuff. And I'm like, girl, my target audience is going to come to me. My content is going to reach the phones, the TVs, the laptops. It's going to reach the people that it's meant to reach. I don't need the support. I don't need any of that. And I know she was insulted by that because essentially I no longer needed a situation where I need your support, where you can obviously have this, like, you know, cheerleader mentality, I guess, essentially, to make it easier for you to summon or send whatever intention you want behind this fake support, essentially. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, like that's where all of that came from. And if you please follow my spiritual channel, The Mystic Sovereign. Really what made me really wake up was the egg cleanse that I did. I did an egg cleanse because I just kept having a feeling. And I was like, I need to do an egg cleanse to get down to the bottom of this. And what the egg cleanse showed me was eye-opening. It was very, very eye-opening, and it confirmed everything that I had thought. So once I did the egg cleanse, I was like, okay, I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. Support is nice. Wish we could do it without envy and jealousy. Me too. Did you also take estrogen to balance it out? Yeah. So essentially, well, no. So what you would do, you'd actually take an anti-estrogen if you're going to be taking testosterone, because essentially when you're going to be taking more testosterone, okay, so pretty much what people do, estrogen is what's going to like have you hold on to weight and like gain weight, and we need to cut weight. So we would take an anti-estrogen. So like a tamoxifen, essentially. So that's like what they give to like breast cancer patients, tamoxifen. We would take that. So like there are like people that will have that and run that for like their PCT or whatever, essentially. Sorry, I know I kind of got off of the subject here. Okay, sorry.
Problem with women who are jealous of women who have that unique aura or glow is that they have no clue where they got it from. Because her glow didn't come from skipping in the fields of sunflowers. It didn't come from life being easy and everything handed to her on a gold plate. It came from major difficulties, challenges, from having to learn on her own how to heal from trauma. It came from her dealing with it with grace and with dignity. You know those women who go through the unimaginable and then they come out of it looking better than ever? It's because those women stay close to God. She chose faith and to deal with it in a dignified way rather than let it make her be cold and bitter. So God chooses to preserve her beauty because she is meant to help others heal. The women who I personally admire are not the ones who have had life so easy and everything handed to them, but the ones who have had to learn life the hard way and still choose compassion. When a woman chooses to be compassionate over hateful, which could have been so easy for her to do, then her beauty will multiply. So this is a shout out to all the beautiful women on here who have suffered and managed to keep their dignity and grace through it all. You are the real deal, beautiful woman. Don't ever forget that.
I heard that. I don't surround myself with women who haven't done the inner work or are not currently doing their inner work. Also, if they're not doing anything with their lives or at least trying to figure it out. So this is what I'm going to say. Without exposing too much about my blueprint, my life blueprint, I highly encourage women to figure out what their life path number is, your numerology coding, your birth chart. I am a chosen one. Okay, I am a chosen one. I am a limited edition person. I am a rare breed. And this is important for you to know. Like, you need to know if you're the chosen one. You need to know if you are one of those people that really is born with a lot of gifts, a person that really is, you have the blueprint for you to establish greatness. And the reason why that is because even when you deal with someone that is doing the inner work, even if you are dealing with someone that is trying to figure it out, you are going to outpace that person. That person is constantly going to be, you're going to be lapping that person constantly. So even when the person is doing the work, it's not going to matter because you are, without you even trying, you are going to be ascending way too far ahead of them, and they're not going to like that. So you have to know you before you start figuring out everybody else. You have to know your blueprint to know where you stand. And I think the biggest lesson in understanding who is insecure and who is not insecure is understanding your potential, understanding how you make other people feel, understand how other people perceive you. Like I'm a master number. Okay, I'm a number 11. Kobe Bryant was an 11. Michael Jordan is an 11. A lot of very, very high achieving people are a master number 11. When you have things that are in your blueprint, you're not like everybody else. So you cannot live a life like everybody else. You're different. You're a rare breed. Your life, your trajectory is not going to be average. And so it's important that you learn these things about you. You understand your ancestry. You understand the trauma that your grandmother has been through. The most important person in your whole entire life that you need to know's trauma in your life is your maternal grandmother. If your maternal grandmother is still alive, you need to sit down and you need to talk to your maternal grandmother. Your epigenetics is through your maternal grandmother. Because when you are born, you have all of the eggs that you are going to have for your whole entire life. You're born with them already. So that means that the eggs that your maternal grandmother had, she had your mother's eggs, and your mother had your eggs. So the epigenetics started from your grandmother. So everything that your grandmother went through in her life, it will be a blueprint on essentially karmic debts that you need to situate out in your life. And on my spiritual channel, I talk about that. I talk about the soul contract that you have with your parents and why you chose your parents to be your parents, because you do have a soul contract. When you incarnate, you reincarnate, and you pick your parents based off of the past life that you lived. And you can use this information to put pieces of the puzzle together to make your life easier, for you to be able to make better decisions. Billionaires use astrology. Millionaires use astrology. I am very sorry. Mai was murdered by her son. Rest in peace. That's awful. That's horrible. That is horrible. My mom's mom died when she was pregnant with me. Wow. So you actually have a very, very very deep karmic situation that you were born into. Very, very deep. So I would definitely ask around and see if anyone can remember her life and get an opinion through a different lens about her, because yeah, like karmically, that's very, very strong. Very, very strong. Because so like there are like little synchronicities like that in my family where people will die on people's birthday, or people will be born on other people's birthday. That is a very strong ancestral karmic tie. Because essentially it's life after death, right? It's life after death. So these are very, very important things I feel like you like need to know and to accept when it comes to your energy and the people, if you decide to have people that are going to be around you, and also understanding your birth chart. Like, I really have to be careful because it's essentially in my birth chart where people are very obsessive, very, very obsessive with me. So I have to be very, very careful. Okay, I do have to be very, very careful. um we saw that dust bucket that like made all those different profiles or whatever, because like he really, really wanted to like get like on here or whatever. Yeah, it's already in my chart that like that's a theme with me. So I personally, knowing that, I have to be very, very careful on who I get to know, who I'm vulnerable with, who I'm dealing with. And when I'm dealing with insecure people, or if I'm dealing with insecure people, I mean, that could be to the point where someone could take my life. That could be to the point where someone could kill me. So this is why I feel as though you have to care. You have to care, number one, about who you are in your blueprint and what makes you you, so that you know how to move. You know what I mean? So that you can understand what level of, like, what degree, what level that you need to go to be able to keep yourself protected, because you have your own trajectory. You have your own blueprint that is unique to you. So and only you can figure those things out when it comes to these type of situations, when you are dealing with people who are insecure, and how far they are willing to go with their insecurity. Everyone has insecurities. Every single one of us has insecurities. I have love handles. I hate the fact that I don't have. I hate the fact I have love handles, and I hate the fact that I have hip dips. It's an insecurity of mine. That is just life. That is just life. I'm not gonna sit here and like sabotage someone because like they have a way better body shape. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to sit here and talk shit about someone because they got surgery or they've enhanced their body, or try to sabotage them for doing so in any way. So there are plenty of people that you might be friends with and they have insecurities, and you're one of those people where it's in your chart, it's your aura, it's other things about you that they're not really going to do anything to you. They're not really going to have you be in a predicament where you will really have to feel like your life will be on the line. And if you follow me on Patreon, I talk about that. I literally talk about how a woman literally almost ruined my life. I almost got like kicked out of school, essentially. She really did try to ruin my life because she was so jealous. She was so obsessive. She was like in love with me. She's everything the woman said in the video, and I am the complete opposite. And as a Christian, she saw me as being rebellious. I was never going to be silenced. I suggest if anyone had a lot of placements in the 12th house to begin to research meditation. 12th house connected to the subconscious. And see, in Western astrology, my 12th house is empty. Oh, wow. I was born on my mother's birthday. We're exactly 20 years apart. I don't understand it, but we have such a terrible relationship as well. You might be the debt that your mom had to pay. Honestly, you might be the debt that your mom had to pay. Both of my grandmothers died when I was pregnant with both of my kids. Wow. This is crazy. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I don't have any my 12th house is empty in Western astrology. Girl, forget what I had said about not linking up with women anytime soon. If it's you and you're organizing, say less. I'm there watching from the beginning and you are my people. Aw, thank you. I honestly want all girls. I wanted more me's from young. I don't know what I'd do with a boy if I got one. True. Yep, my Venus is in Scorpio. I have people obsessing over me, stalking me, and possessive always in my business too. Yep, same. Yup. But for me, that's like that's for Vedic astrology for me. So it's like with my Rahu and Ketu. My karmic debt on my mom's side is stop being nice. I am Cat Moon and my mom is a Cancer rising. Ooh. Ooh. Always use whole signs when calculating your chart. Yes, this is my visual tribe over here. I'm telling you, y'all are my visual tribe. I don't have no friends now. I don't have any real friends. I have acquaintances now. I do. I have acquaintances. Oh my gosh, you're a Cancer sun and Capricorn moon. And when I tell you I'm in my own lane, honey, oh my gosh. Damn, a Cancer sun. Wow. Yeah, and like that's one thing I've realized. I just do better alone. I do. I just do better alone. And I don't know. I'm a teacher. I am. I'm very Saturntarian. Very Saturntarian. I have a lot of the father qualities. Like I'm meant to lead, I'm meant to teach, I'm meant to guide, I'm meant to mentor. So I don't feel fulfilled in friendships ever because I'm always having to teach someone. I'm always having to guide someone in a friendship. And it's never in the setting that I want to, because essentially I'm having to teach someone so that way I can I feel like I'm doing it subconsciously to lessen the competition between us, for them to feel more comfortable. And once I like put two and two together, I was like, I'm not doing that shit. I can't. I'm not going to teach people. I'm not going to teach a friend something just so that it makes it less competitive. Girl, same. You are always giving and energy is never giving back. Never. And so I really have like had to accept the fact that it's like there's really not anyone around me on a level like strong really anymore where I feel like I'm really gaining anything from these relationships. I'm not really gaining anything by having these people attached to me in any way. And you know it's real when you take away your energy and you have more energy once you have like cut the cord, once you have distance yourself from the person. And I do have more energy. I do. I have a lot more energy. They really try to switch places in that Adam and Eve story. Yes. I think I'm my mom's karmic debt to release and let go. I'm a Sagittarius sun, Scorpio moon, and my mom is an Aries sun, Taurus moon. And I even have very young parents. I do. I have very, very young parents, and I've essentially had to teach my parents not everything, but I pretty much have like went throughout my whole life having to teach my parents. And yeah, I'm very, very Sagittarian. So my karmic debt is for essentially I chose very young parents because young parents are more impressionable. They're not set in their ways. They are easier to mentor. They are easier to teach. It is easier to have them have more reflections on things. And so yeah, like I feel as though that is my karmic debt, to be able to like teach my parents and then just essentially be able to heal all of the things ancestral through also like teaching my young parents, because like they have a whole lot of life to live. Like they do. Like I have very, very young parents. But I do feel a lot better. I do. And I even knew like Monday, I was so ready to come home Monday. I was like, I'm ready to be fucking home. I was so happy when I came home. And that's when I knew. I'm like, I ain't going out with people again. I could have went out alone. I should have went out alone. And I don't have to go back to work for I don't have to go back to work for a whole nother week. So I get to chill out here in Florida, soak up the sun, get the vibes, chill, be productive, work on the planner. My plan is to have the planner be released in May. That is my goal. So I'm just sprucing it up for you all. I am tired. You are mentoring naturally without knowing my archetype is the wise woman, the sage, the mother. I am always mothering, even though I don't have any kids, exhausted. And this is why I empathize with all the women who are very nurturing and very giving and have a lot of knowledge and have a lot of wisdom. I don't need to birth a child for me to be a mother. Like I'm a mother for the community. I'm a mother for the collective. So I don't need to birth a child to be able to feel like that. You know what I mean? But also just knowing when to withdraw your energy. I'm in the Taurusy part. I'm in Clearwater. I'm in Clearwater. It's just because I want to be at the nicer beaches. I have never lived in a part or been in an area where I could have access to like so many beaches. But yeah, so essentially it's when you're mothering everyone else, you definitely have to understand when to pull back your energy. You have to know when to pull back your energy, and you have to know who to give your energy to. And if you're drained, that means you're giving too much energy. You're giving it to the wrong people, and you're giving too much of your energy. So you need to take your energy back. Take your energy back and essentially invest it back into yourself. You are definitely an empress. True. Thank you. I only had one baby. She turned 16 2 weeks ago. Nice. Yeah, if it's not reciprocating, I'm out. Yeah, and like that's what I'm sick of. I'm sick of it not being reciprocated. And I just can't deal with the insecurity anymore. I can't. So I took an archetype test. Why can't I remember? Hold on. Let me cut my phone back on. Reason why I keep cutting my phone off is because I always get a phone call, but I did take a test. It's just I have multiple archetypes that were like very close in ranking. Like I had like 3 archetypes that was rated like the same. So that's the reason why I cannot remember, because it's like 3 of them. I use the Impulse app. I like that app a lot. Impulse. You can do all types of like brain games on there. Shameless plug, not sponsored. But you can do like brain games on there, memory games on there, and you also can you can get your IQ. You can know what your IQ on there is. I want to thank you for your content. I am soaking your knowledge. I love a spiritual person. You are definitely a mystic one. Oh my gosh, thank you. Don't forget to follow my second channel, The Mystic Sovereign. Let me link it. Let me link it in the chat. My poor forearm. Okay. There you go. Okay, hold on. I'm looking for my archetype. Oh my gosh, show me where it is. Sorry, y'all. I haven't used this app in forever. Dang, it must not like save it. I must have to, that can't be. Boo. Oh, here it is. Sorry. Okay, I found it. So I got the creator. I got ranked that 100%, the jester 100%, and the magician 100%. So the creator bestows the universe with fresh concepts and establishes order by bringing into existence something which did not previously exist. Both the act of creating and the finished product may provide considerable joy and satisfaction to those who belong to the creator type. And then the jester. The jester is a symbol of being present in this very now. As the party's vivacious center, the jester encourages everyone to take things easy and have fun. The jester helps people tap into their carefree, childlike side by showing them that it's okay to be unconventional, to break the rules, and to be themselves. And then the magician. For those with the magician personality type, nothing brings more joy than seeing the realization of a long-held dream. Intuitive, wise, and optimistic by nature, they may see things from several angles and encourage others to think anything is possible. In times of enormous upheaval and change, they tend to feel energized and up to the task. I feel like I'm closest to the magician, even though I ranked 100% on all three. But I really do feel as though I'm the magician. Yeah, I have. You can just look them up online. You can just type in Carl Jung Archetype Test, and you could take it. Yeah, this is a psychological test created by Carl Jung, where he pretty much he created different archetypes for you to essentially. You should know your personality, like you should know your archetype. You should do a personality quiz. Yeah, that mercurial energy is coming from Gemini because Gemini is ruled by the planet. Is it ruled by Mercury? I can't remember. Either Mercury or Mars. You know all this stuff. You know this stuff like the back of your hand. But I'm a Gemini moon in both Western and Vedic astrology. But yeah, so yeah, exactly. It's Mercury. So yeah, I'm a Gemini moon in both Western and Vedic astrology. So for sure, lots and lots of Mercury. The app is called Impulse. You can do your IQ. You can do your IQ on there. You can do your emotional intelligence on there. But it's 7 this year, and like, yeah, yeah, I can feel it. Okay. I can fucking feel it. So I have had a lot of introspection. Froze. Let me see. Okay. I don't know if it's back or not. But MBTI or the Big Five. So like there's like a website, 16 personalities. I do 16 personalities. I'm an ENTJ. That's like my personality type. I'm an ENTJ. You can also learn your Enneagram. So like I can't remember what my Enneagram is. I read the Enneagram book probably 7 or 8 years ago. But yeah, I would take a personality test, I would take an archetype test, I would do an Enneagram test, I would understand your numerology, what your life path number is for the year 2025, what your personal year is, and then you also need to know your birth chart. And you could do it for Western or Vedic astrology for your birth chart. I prefer Vedic astrology. Okay, yeah, you're EMTJ. I'm judging in mine too. Mine is pretty rare. Top 2, 3. Yeah, top 2/3. Yep. We're judgers. So I feel like this is important. That way you know where to put your energy, and that way I am sorry, but you need to know how other people perceive you. Hold on, let me cut the light on because the sun is setting. You need to understand how other people perceive you, not because you care, not because you give a damn, not because you're trying to know to change or alter anything. You need to know how people perceive you, because you need to know, you essentially need to know this information to know how to harvest your energy, your own, and how to harness your own energy. That's why you need to know how other people perceive you. And believe people. Like when people are saying, you have a gift, you're very bright, you're very energetic, you're very this, you're very that. You need to listen to people when they're telling you that information. Because then if you have someone that's trying to betray you, someone that's jealous of you, they're probably not going to be the person to tell you that you're bright, you know, that you're doing amazing, that you're doing great, that they look up to you. So you'll be sitting here like, well, why are they jealous? Or why are they acting like this? Or why are they doing that? And so then you'll understand, once you know this information about yourself, you'll be like, oh, that's why. That's why. Are men allowed in the chat? It depends on why you're here. Depends on why you are here. But yeah, you really do need to understand who you are as a person in order to tap into understanding how other people perceive you, so that way you can take back your energy and use it accordingly. That's like the most important thing. You won't have to deal with insecure people. You won't have to deal with insecure people if you realize that you have a strong energy and you have a strong aura. Why would a man be here? He says he's here to speak the truth. His truth is probably us dying as cat ladies and calling us witches. If you're fighting other males on behalf of women, exactly. Exactly. Are you the misogyny slayer? I'm hollering. Why would a man be here? Hollering. He's here to speak the truth. He already lied. Right. Where's the truth? We're waiting. We're waiting. Hollering. Hollering. Oh my God. Speaking of pegging. Oh my God. Speaking of pegging. Hold on. Hold on. I have to find this. Hold on. Y'all are going to crack up. It's not relatable, but it is very funny. Like, it is very funny because I feel like this is a valid reason to crash out. Hold on. I save so many things on all these social media. Oh, here we go. Wait, can you see? It says, hold on. It says, when you find out your husband's cheating on you with another man, but wouldn't let you peg him for your birthday. I'd be pissed. I would be pissed. I feel like that's a valid crash out. Like that's a valid crash out. Like you mean to tell me you're gonna cheat on me with a man, and you wouldn't even let me peg you? Pegging means bend over and spread them. Pegging means bend over and spread them and prepare for entry. Prepare for entry through your exit. I joke about it. All women should peg. That's where the G spot is for a man. It's in the back door. It is. That's where the G spot is. We want to do that because it's going to it's going to feel great. You have a level that you haven't tapped into of pleasure, of satisfaction. I want to open up a pegging chip for women. You never asked me if I wanted it or was comfortable, though. This is what women go through. This is what women go through. I don't care if I don't have to ask for your consent. Who cares? Because you're gonna like it. We're not putting you through anything. You're literally gonna like it. That's where your spot is. It's gonna like be uncomfortable at first, and then you're going to enjoy it. I promise. It is. That's what every man says. The smell of that gym after football season. Oh my gosh. This is our example of fun. We're just having fun. We are. We're just having fun. You came in a woman's chat. I don't know what you were expecting. They tell me slow down, take it easy. I love flipping the script. It's like, nope. I'll let you can decide what you want to go up there. You can decide. We could start off small, can work your way up. See, he's I'm selling him. He's getting curious. He's getting curious. Just the tip. Just the tip, boo. That's it. Oh my God. We'll go slow. We'll go slow. We'll make sure that we have all the lubricant. We make sure that we have all the lubricant needed. They get all weird out when you do LOL. He feels like the woman. Exactly. He probably wants a sample. Okay, you can peg me, but after you, men don't have any energy. I'm going in dry. You're gonna have him bleeding. Okay, well, if your energy gets swallowed, that means you have to go. That means we have to go in dry. Good. Your pleasure center is in your prostate. I just think it's so funny because like their spot really is in their prostate. Like, what are the odds? What are the chances? What are the chances? They put their pleasure center in their butt. They put their pleasure center of their butt, and all a penis is just an enlarged clitoris. Literally, that's what a penis is. A penis is it's an enlarged clit. That's really all it is. In women's ovaries, so men's testicles are the same as the ovaries. So, like, essentially, like a man's testicles were, they started off, because all boys were men first. So they started off as ovaries, and they just descended into testicles. And then they started off as girls with a clitoris, and then it just got elongated. He doesn't even want to believe that he was a girl first. Listen to the misogyny. Men literally come from a woman, and they're a woman first, and then hate women. It's like, don't you know you hate a part of yourself? Like, men literally will be out here hating women, and they were a woman before they turned into a boy. They came out of a whole woman. Yeah, so it's not that it's larger, it's that it has more nerve endings on a smaller surface area. Like, I think the surface area is smaller. The surface area is smaller than a penis is. It just has more nerve endings on a smaller surface. Are you stupid? I literally scan babies for a living. A fetus has a gender at 12 weeks. You're going to lose this argument. You're going to lose this. I would take the L now while you can. A fetus has a gender at 12 weeks. So I highly doubt you. I highly doubt you don't argue this, because you're not going to win. Y'all, when I was driving, this is why you have to do research. When I was driving, why was I seeing billboards saying that a baby has a heartbeat at 18 days? I was like, this should be banned. A baby has a heartbeat at around 46 days. I know. Ask your question. And then after that, I'm probably going to shut this down, because it's already 8 o'clock. I'm like, 18 days. 18 days. No, do you know how to read? Right? Yeah, it was in Georgia. They had them in Georgia, and they had them in Florida. And they were like, in 18 days, the baby has a heartbeat. No, you idiot. So you were born a fetus. So what was your name? So you had no name when you were born. You had no penis when you were born. So you're just fetus. So your gender is fetus. So you don't mark male or female. You just mark fetus. You know how dumb men are. You know how committed men are to being misogynistic, that they don't mind being uneducated. That's how attached to misogyny men are. Cool. And I'm hollering because it will come up on their feed. And it's like, okay, obviously you're searching for shit like this if it's coming up on your feed. Obviously. Like, obviously you are looking for stuff like this for it to come up on your feed. I'm here to speak my truth. Why do they say dumb shit like this? Why do they say dumb shit like that? I'm here to speak my truth. Right. He was funny at first, and then he completely lost the plot. Completely lost the plot. Right. I-75 billboards try to dampen your fun before we get into the fun. I swear, I'm like, what the hell? 18 days. 18 days. I know, men ruin everything. They're good at ruining everything. That's all they're good for, is ruining the vibe. He was cool when he wanted to get pegged. He was cool when he wanted to get pegged. And then all of a sudden he's talking about fetuses and being a girl first. And they never want to learn by themselves. You have to feed spoon them. Oh my God, I swear. The way you have to break things down to a man to get them to understand, it's like, it's crazy. That's how they start all fun, and then they make everything about them and ruin everything. Exactly. How can women believe that lie that women came from Adam's rib? Unbelievable. I know. I'm like, I've never seen a man birth a child. Like, I don't know. The whole purpose of the Bible is to eat the meat and spit out the bones. And too many people want to use it to their convenience, to like say certain things when they know it makes no sense. Annie changed the topic. We were vibing, learning about metaphysics. I know, right? Just a twisted fairy tale. Exactly. Like, men will be like, women are supposed to submit. You came from my rib. And it's like, so you birthed a child? Are you able to birth a child like now? Like, it makes no sense. They literally make 0 sense. I need a drink after that now. He just killed the vibe. But y'all, I'm going to get off of here. I am. I had a great time. Don't forget, I have my Patreon. Subscribe to the Patreon if you want to learn the game, learn manipulation tactics. I'll be putting level up content on there soon. I had a great time with you all. I also have one-on-one consultations. I have the second channel, The Mystic Sovereign. My lovely sovereign sisters, I hope you have a wonderful day, evening, night, whatever time it is. And I will see you all next time. Bye.